Uh-oh, I just ate all my feelings. Hands up if you feel me. Are you someone that does that? Have you ever experienced a day or even a week where you feel like you just ate all of your feelings? I know I sure have. Hello and welcome. Corinne here from CRG Energy Fitness, owner and head coach here, and I help parents build strong, confident minds and bodies to allow you to feel comfortable within your own skin. I also help to eliminate any aches and pains by taking you through a step-by-step process where we actually identify the cause of your problem and not just deal with the symptoms and just put a band-aid over it. Alrighty, so today I'm here talking about emotional eating. Alrighty, so I want to share with you an experience that I had last week, and even a few days here and there leading up to that. Alrighty, so I found myself eating all of my feelings, and it was tough. Like last week was tough for me. I was stressed out over my business. I was finding that I just wasn't having enough time for me. So enough personal time for me to do the things that I really enjoyed to do. Alrighty, I just started implementing more boundaries within my business. And how I then actually allocate my time. And for me, this was challenging because I like to be flexible. I want to be flexible for my members. However, it was coming at a cost to myself. Alrighty, I wasn't then allowing and allocating or leaving enough time for me to do the things that I wanted to do. Alrighty, I didn't have enough time for the things that really set my soul on fire, which I then found was, was overflowing then into my business and affecting, how I was then showing up. When I was doing my my training sessions, when I was doing my coaching, and I want to be the best person and the best the best version of me when I'm showing up. I want to be that for me, but I also want to be that for the people around me so that they're also getting the best version of me and not just what's left of me. So that's super important for me. I was finding I didn't have time to do my own workouts or to go to the gym. So I just wasn't doing training or workouts at all. So the consistency there then was really dropping. I had no time then to go to the meditation center. So the center that I'm a part of, the wonderful community there. So I wasn't able to, embrace the zen and the calmness of the people that I interact with at the meditation center. And, my mental health was then really feeling it. My monkey mind was starting to take over and, just get a little bit crazy. The minutes I then found that I had to spend with my daughter, I was then trying to juggle spending time with her but doing work at the same time rather than stepping back and actually separating them. So then when she was actually asking for my attention, I was then getting snappy at her because I was trying to be in two places at one time. And I also then just found I didn't have time to meal prep or, organize myself around food and the food that I wanted to be eating. So I was finding myself then just making choices that weren't serving me. And pretty much, as I said, eating all of my feelings with, some food that just wasn't serving me in that space. So all of this found me feeling absolutely every little thing and then therefore feeling down on myself. And I have to be completely honest here. I am someone that can be a little bit tough on myself. A little bit? Okay, yeah, a lot. Alrighty, so I can be quite hard on myself. And therefore, when I was feeling I was feeling as if it was tough, I then started to eat my emotions and I started to eat all of my feelings. So when I look back at it, what are some of the things that led to my emotional eating? And I think for me, it's really important to actually, anything and everything that we go through in life is a lesson for us to learn from. I truly believe that. So I think it's really important that, once we recognize that something is happening, we actually take a step back and look at the lessons that we can learn from it. Alrighty. So what I recognized was that I was setting myself up for failure. I just wasn't setting enough time for the tasks that I needed to get done on a daily basis, which then was leading to me feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Thanks for joining, guys. Hope you're doing well. So when I was then feeling stressed and overwhelmed, I found myself trying to take shortcuts or looking for that quick fix, looking for the shortest or the quickest way to do things, which I think we all can attest to the fact that just really doesn't work. I mean, okay, it might work in, that day, that moment. However, in the long term, it doesn't actually solve the problem that I have, and it actually even makes it worse long term if we just keep looking for those quick and short fixes. Because when we actually avoid the things that we know we have to do, or the things that we have to do, it just gets to a point where it builds up, and it builds up until we're standing there looking at this huge mountain of things that we have to do. And then it just even becomes overwhelming about where we start and if we even start. Alrighty, and you can sometimes usually find yourself then beating yourself up just for that as well. So it actually really becomes this vicious cycle, because life has its ups and downs. It's always going to have ups and downs. So I want to really talk about, some of the behaviors that we can actually implement and practice to make sure that we're progressing forward within the bigger picture. Alrighty, so it's common, and we're going to slip up here and there, and it's okay to slip up here and there. And that's something I need to remind myself of constantly. It's okay to slip up. It's okay to learn a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake. I think as long as we can then learn from that mistake so that going forward we're not continually making the same mistake, then there is a purpose to it. Alrighty, so okay, yes, it can be a case of feeling like we've taken a step back. However, if we're always aiming then to take 2 steps forward, then we're always, when we look at the bigger picture, we're always going to be that 1 step ahead anyway. Alrighty, so it's natural to, have challenges. It's natural for obstacles to pop up, for us to, maybe fall back 1 step. But let's look at, how we can actually keep moving forward and therefore minimize potentially slipping back into old behaviors which are not serving us and where we actually want to be. Alrighty, so as I've touched on already, one huge thing to remember is that we are only human, and we only have a certain amount of willpower over all the buckets that we deal with in our everyday life. Alrighty, and it can most definitely be hard to not actually find ourselves falling back into those emotional eating or emotional coping strategies that we find ourselves relying on, that quick fix to then tide us over to keep surviving. Alrighty, so we want to look at how we can thrive in this lifetime and not just survive day to day. So are you someone who is affected by these particular scenarios? Alrighty, so if you have an argument with your husband or with your wife, with your partner, with your friend, are you someone that's affected by that? Are you affected by the kids? Are they driving? Do you feel as if they drive you up the wall all the time? Are they too demanding? Are they too loud? Are they too this? Are they too that? Are you someone that's affected by just how you feel about yourself? The way you look, your hair, your tummy, your legs. Are you someone that's hard on yourself? Do you feel as if you're just not good enough? You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not fit enough. You're not funny enough. All these not enoughs. Are you someone that is or thinks of themselves as a perfectionist, and, you feel as if everything needs to be spot on perfect all of the time? Are you someone that's affected by COVID right now? Like, COVID is huge. And we're in this world of unknown, because our border, we've been protected by this little bubble for so long, and our borders are just about to be open. So there's fear of the unknown, of, exactly what's going to happen and how we're going to deal with that. Alrighty. So are you someone that's affected by any and or all of those situations, all of those scenarios? And then do you find yourself with that follow-up statement or an action of, just going to go and eat ice cream or pizza or chocolate or cake or drink wine or beer, to actually help me feel better? Okay, but does it actually make you feel better? And by all means, I'm not suggesting in any way or form that eating these foods are bad. No, not at all. What I'm leading to here is actually the feeling and the emotion that we experience around when we're reaching for those foods. Alrighty, and then why we're choosing to eat them. Because the underlying problem is still there. It's still present. We're just actually ignoring it. Alrighty. So what we want to think about and consider, what exactly is causing the stress in your life? Okay. And let's find out exactly what the cause is. Not just put a Band-Aid over the solution for that quick fix. For example, if you're an emotional eater you're emotionally eating because you feel angry, like, why is it that you feel angry? Let's say you've just had a fight with your partner and you're angry that they haven't helped clean up after dinner. The dishes are all thrown on the sink and nobody's put anything away in the dishwasher. No one's wiped up the table. And you just feel like, that shit's been left for me to do again. Alrighty. You're angry because no one's helping you. Alrighty. I want you to actually, sit with your feelings for just a little bit there. Dig a little bit deeper. Is the emotion that you're feeling, is it actually anger? Is that really what you're feeling? Or is it, or could it be maybe hurt or disappointment that no one or your partner or your children aren't then helping you to clean up, and understanding that you might like some time for yourself at the end of the night as well? Alrighty, so are you actually feeling as if you're not seen or you're not heard? Now that's totally different. Those feelings of discontentment and, feeling as if you're not seen and as if you're not heard, they're totally different to feelings of anger. Alrighty, so be honest with yourself as to why you're feeling a certain way. And that way then, going forward, you can actually approach your partner or approach your family and actually have a heartfelt conversation with them as to what is going on and why it's so important to you to have that time of a nighttime, to yourself to replenish and to refill your cup up. Allow them to understand how you're actually feeling so that they can actually help you to move forward and help you to grow in that space. So rather than just yelling at them, or worse yet, and I used to do this, I used to be passive aggressive where I'd just be in the kitchen banging, pots and pans and plates around, hoping that someone would hear and come in and ask me if I needed help. Actually talk to them and have a conversation, really have communication to let them know how you're feeling, because that's what's going to help you to actually move forward in that space. And that's going to actually then bring you and your partner or your family closer together, and everyone then is on the same wavelength. Everyone understands how everyone's feeling. Alrighty. So Like, I believe that is a much better solution than, tying yourself up inside in knots of anger when you're feeling as if you've just left to do everything and you're feeling hurt that nobody, is there to help you. Alrighty. So I want to look at some of the things that actually led me into emotional eating. Like, I realized I was setting myself up for failure. I was not giving myself enough time to do the things that I wanted to do. So I wasn't actually, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's then how we actually, allocate the time that we do have and the things that we're then choosing to do. And I realized that I wasn't giving myself enough time to do those things that actually set my soul on fire. So instead of feeling ignited and, alive, I was then just feeling drained and lethargic and tired and downright exhausted, really. So what are some things then that, we're not or we shouldn't do then going forward? So if you have had an experience of emotionally eating for the day, for the week, what are some things that we can do going forward to help you actually move out of that pattern? Alrighty. So first up, please stop being unkind to yourself for overeating or for emotionally eating. Alrighty. And then when you actually have determined why, what actually led to that emotional eating, don't bash yourself up for not giving yourself enough time. So I guess for me, I didn't allocate enough time to do these things. So I needed to stop bashing myself up for not allocating the time. So, we need to then learn from that. And that's what I have done, because I've already started putting things into place to actually block off time for myself each and every week. Alrighty, and another thing I'm not going to do, like leading into this week, I'm not going to skip meals, and I'm not going to, halve my portions because I know that I've overeaten the last week. So that's just going to turn that into a really vicious cycle. Alrighty, clear the slate. Last week is gone. We can't change that. So let's set ourselves up for the best possible chance of having the best possible results for this week. Alrighty, so go back to the way that you were eating, eating the foods that were serving you. Alrighty, now then I'm going to look now at the things that I'm going to do going forward. So first up, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm human and I do make mistakes, and there's going to be times when I do emotionally eat. Alrighty. However, what I'm going to do now, or what I have done, by processing this, is I'm going to look at what happened from an outsider point of view. And I think that's really important, because when we're in the situation ourselves, it's very easy to get caught up in the emotion. However, if we can actually stand back and try and look at the situation as if, you've stood back and you're a third party looking down on what's exactly happening. Alrighty. So you're able to then remove yourself from your emotions. Alrighty. And remove the emotion around the situation. And then look at how we can then change things so that they're not then going to be just repeated for next week. Alrighty, so look at changes we can implement to start changing the way the path is then going. Is there a pattern, and how can I change the pattern? Like, what's the best possible thing I can do to try and put a stop to the pattern that is happening? And a lot of the time, simply recognizing that there is a pattern is a huge step forward, and something that's, just a real aha moment. Because when we can recognize exactly what's happening, then we have the power to change it, right? And that's really empowering when we know that we are responsible for our lives. We are responsible for our actions. So we get to change, and we get to choose what actions we take day in and day out. And we get to choose the behaviors that we can implement. So how amazing is that? Like, seriously, wow. We get to choose our path, and we get to make our path. We get to make things happen, So look at what are some things that we can do to be more prepared. Like, what can I do to then be more prepared this week that I didn't do last week? And when can I then actually put some time in my calendar to allocate towards organizing my food, going shopping, getting the food that I need, putting time aside to cook. So what I found myself not doing last week, which is something I, try to do, most occasion is when I cook, I like to cook, I guess, in bulk in a way. So, I'm cooking maybe 3 or 4 lamb steaks rather than just one, or rather than just enough for that dinner. So I've got, an extra 3 there. That's for the next 3 meals. Alrighty. So I'm saving time because I've got to cook anyway, right? So I might as well cook, multiple meals or multiple servings so that I can then have them for other meals, and when can I then allocate and block time off that I'm spending on the things that make me feel alive. Alrighty, those things that really set my soul on fire so that I'm feeling amazing and I'm feeling good within me. Alrighty, so things like getting out in nature for me, where I just know that I get into my flow. Alrighty, and it just feels good. So I've already time blocked some time away this weekend where I'm getting out in nature. I actually went for a picnic on Tuesday night down at the river, which was amazing. So I was out in nature. We were walking through and swimming in the river. We went for a walk. It was amazing. So I felt really, really good after that. Alrighty, so make sure you're blocking out time for yourself. It's super, super important because remember, you are the most important person in your life. Alrighty, so thank you so much for watching and listening, everybody. I hope sharing my experience has allowed you to get some insight and then allowed you to reflect back on your own experiences and then put into practice some of the suggestions that I've made for you to help you to move forward and to help you to progress forward and then minimize the potential limitations that you do have and minimize falling back continually into the same behaviors over and over. Alrighty, so if you liked my video and found some value in it today, please hit the heart button. I would love you to. It just helps the reach of my video so it gets out to more parents out there that need some help to be the best version that they can be every single day. Alrighty, guys, I hope you have the best day. Until next week, see ya.